Hola, hola, hey. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. We're here for Sunday. Let's see what the market has in the week. I was going to say what the week has in the market, but let's see what the market has in the week. Yes, what is up and coming? I'm going to give time for YouTube and all those guys, YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. Those are my three people. That's the three places where we stream to those platforms. We're going to give them a chance to let the people know that we are here. We want to let them know, let the people know that we are here, right? Okay. Putting up, hey Ward, you had asked me about something in the chat. I don't remember who I said. If I did say somebody, I don't remember who it was. It didn't come back to me fast, right? Janae says, good evening, the winning DC Commanders. Janae says the DC Commanders are winning. They used to be the Washington Redskins, I guess, and now they're the DC Commanders. They're winning. Good job for them. Tanya said she missed y'all yesterday. Miss Hutchins said we missed you too because I think I answered your question though in our long video. We were on about 3 hours yesterday in our coaching call, and that's why this is looking weird. I believe I answered your question, right? Let me change. I want to make sure that I'm picking up the right camera, and I think it's not picking up the right camera. There, oh, look at there. We get the right. I was like, why is this looking so bright back there? It's because it was on the wrong camera. Okay. Anyway, Tanya, I believe I answered your question yesterday in our video. I don't know if you have when you watch the replay, when you watch those replays, if you can pick up like your name in there. I know I said your name a few times, and then I started answering the question that you had asked me. I think I answered the question you asked. If I did not, please let me know, and I'll make sure that I give you a full, the answer, right? But I did have Tiva ask she read to me the question that was in the chat, so I think I answered it. Lennox says she's new here. Welcome, welcome. We are a group of option sellers over here, technical analyzers and chart looker adders. Yeah, that's what we do over here. But we're option sellers over here. So welcome, Lennox. You're free to hang out with us all the time. We're here every morning at 9:45. We're here every morning, every market morning. All right. Definitely like and subscribe to the channel, not just Lennox, but anybody who is new here. Like and subscribe to the channel. Hang out with us regularly. Curtis says Risky Roger week. Risky Roger. Well, I don't know what I'm not sure what Risky Roger means. Maybe clarify for us what you're talking about. Good evening, Marcia. Hey, Mr. Marion, how you doing? Janae could be heading for the Super Bowl 59. Okay, now they could be on their way. Good evening,
Slow
Adrian.
down.
Hey, Janae.
Slow down.
You said pump your brakes, Halls.
Slow down. Good.
Hey, Ward getting ahead of himself.
He getting ahead of himself. The Steelers got to play the Washington Commanders next week, so we gotta pump the brakes.
Oh, you'll say don't even try the Steelers like that. You said don't even play the Steelers like that. The Steelers go tell Washington Commanders to go back to the house.
He's speaking by
faith. You speaking by faith. Oh my goodness. Hey Jermaine, how you doing? Tanya says I'll check it out. Hi Lennox. I'm sorry. Hi. I didn't know you were. I can't see the picture. It looks real small. But welcome to the call, Lennox. Please forgive me. Janae, I can't believe it, Ward. Maybe 2024 is the year. Harris and the Commanders and Howard loving it. Don't hate Jamie. She said, slow down, player, at Janae. Ward got y'all at the Super Bowl already, and we ain't even got to the playoffs. Ward already got you at the Super Bowl. Ward, I guess you said Ward is, he's speaking by faith. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. Tanya says, slow down, player. Do it too much, too fast. Yes. All righty. So this past week in the market has been an interesting one. Jamie, you got anything you want to talk about for the past week in the market? Anything of interest?
This past week? No, I focus on my attention on what's coming up.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about what's behind us, but what's coming up is very important. Is quite important. Let's look real quick at what was last week. Right? What did we have going last week? One thing I will say is our credit spreads that we put into the sim last week on last week's call turned out really well. We end up with 18% return on collateral. Come on, screen. We end up with 18% return on collateral. Last week, we made about $392 using $2,100 of collateral, which was an 18% return. That's good stuff right there, baby. We'll take it. We'll take it. We'll take it. Yes, we'll take it. All righty.
I will say, Intel finally getting kicked out of the Dow Jones Industrial Average was long overdue.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody kept hoping Intel would get their act together, but it didn't seem like they was getting it together. I'm not sure what's their issue. Well, yeah, I'm not sure what their issue is.
Well,
Cause...
I don't rejoice in the calamity of others or anything, but
oh my goodness, not the calamity
the
of
writing
others.
been on the wall for them for a while if you look at the charts.
Yeah. So look at this chart here. Speaking of charts, this is SPX and the weekly chart. This is the weekly chart. This goes to show us that support, resistance, yada yada. I bet if I was to put a broadening formation on here, we'd see it bump right here and pull right on back. So this is the way SPX hit its resistance or its seller zone, however, whatever phrase you want to use it, and came pulled right on back. Now it's coming back into some support, which is it's bumping up against a moving average on the weekly chart. And this here, I'm sure, is a chair. So it very well could use this now as a place to, well, kind of, this chair is kind of like a chase lounge. It's like not really a good chair. It's more like a lounge back, right? I don't know if I'd call that a chair. And I don't really see, it's got a little bit further to drop before we see, I mean, you can see it slowed down up in here, but that's really not a stop. It really has a little bit further to go, maybe down to 56. That's a long way to go, though. Ooh. All righty, let's go back to the candles, though, and see. This is what SPX look like on a weekly chart. These are weekly candles. Every candle is 1 week's worth of data. Came right up into the resistance area, which was all-time high, and then pull back off of there, and it'll come back. Now, some support. I see 56, 53. It is at a moving average, but ain't really much in here to stop it. There's a little wick here, 56, but we're still talking about 5600s. Even if we look at these, we're still talking about the 5600s, the 5600s. That's the way Jamie Daddy would say it. Jamie's daddy would say the hundreds. Is that how he say it, Jamie?
Dude, I'm over here cracking up. That's hilarious. That's exactly it.
That's exactly how you.
There's no 100 with that cat. There's 100.
No, there's no DR in the middle. It's just hundreds.
HUNID, 100.
That is so funny. Your daddy has, listen, every time I think about Gracias, I laugh. Dude. I won't tell the joke on here, but I laugh every time I say Gracias. Okay, so that's what SPX looked like last week. Let's look at what Triple like on the week. It also came up into, look at this broadening formation that I did have on this one, and it did bump right up into it and came right on back down off of it. Right, it's also coming into a moving average, but it came off of some resistance right up here after it hit. Well, didn't even fill this gap totally. This gap hasn't been fully filled. It's a little bit at the top. This gap here that was in this space was filled, but we've got a little bit of a turnaround even here, coming on back down. Coming around the mountain. Triple Q might have a little bit more downwards action coming too. Let me see what I see. No, I don't want to go there. I wanted to see it on the line chart. Now it is in a chair because this line here does show a clear stoppage around 485, and it has come right into that zone. So that really may be used as some support in this area. So it can turn around and maybe go on back up some more. But you see, we are still bullish. It shows up on our watch list as bullish still. And we're going to work with that high, the all-time high, or, I guess you can call it all-time high, is 503. 503 is our all-time high. We're in the 480s right now. So we do have some room going back to the top. Maybe we go test it out again. It tried to test it during the beginning or some portion of this week. It got up to a high of 501 and some change, and then came on back down. Maybe next time it runs up there, it'll get to go through. But at this point, 503 is the highest, and last week 501 was also high. DJIA, is that what I want? That's not what I want. I thought I did want DJIA. No, maybe I don't. Maybe let's go with IWM. Maybe I'll go there. I was thinking about, what is it, the RUT I'm looking for? This is IWM, which is the small cap on the weekly chart. It is.
RUT is RUT.
I know that, but I put in DJIA, and that still didn't bring up the Dow Jones. I must need to put a slash or something in front of it. I'll go to RUT.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, this is IWM kind of dancing around in its area like it's known to do, kind of prone to stay in an area. High of 225 and some change. Come on. High of 225 and some change. Turn blue. There we go. We can put you right up here as our new price discovery and resistance. We show, if we want to go look at a real quick check on nope, that's not the one I wanted. I wanted this one. We've got a swing high. We can show that as like a broadening formation over here. Got a little room going up here. And if we look for the one here, we've got a drop and a drop. We go here and here. This is the mini little broadening formation that is here. I'm going to take some of these off. That way we can see some stuff so it don't look as crowded, because it's looking crowded in here. It's looking crowded in there, okay? No support and resistance. Doesn't mean they don't need to be there. It's just when I'm trying to show you something. I'm trying to show you something. It's looking crowded, all right? These are weekly charts. This is a weekly. So we're in between these two zones at this point, seeing what IWM or the small caps want to do. Dow is DJI, but okay, let's go DJI. It still must need something else because it's not popping up as Dow Jones, not on Thinkorswim. Maybe it needs a slash or something with it. But this is RUT, which RUT and IWM are the same thing. Didn't you say that, Jamie, that they're kind of the same thing? They are the same. They look exactly the same.
Yes, RUT is the index. IWM is the ETF.
Is the ETF. They do look exactly the same. Okay. So this is what we did. This is what we had to look at from last week, last week. Let's look at SPY. SPY looks a little bit different than SPX, but not merch. It looks a whole lot like SPX. Went up into a resistance area and pulled back, and it's sitting at a moving average.
Did you try DJX?
I didn't try DJX. I'll go there next. But yeah, same setup, basically, same look-alike. Y'all look alike though for the setup of SPY as well as SPX. So let's go DJX. There we go. Dow Jones Average Index. So this almost like you say I don't chart it. It looks almost like SPX. The DJI is in the 400s. Dow Jones Industrial Average Index. All right. Isn't somebody getting added to the Dow Jones? Who's it, NVIDIA?
Yes.
Why you say like that?
Because I just mentioned that like 3 minutes ago.
Where, in the chat?
Yes. No. I just said it verbally. You responded to it.
That NVIDIA was going into the Dow Jones?
We were talking about Intel should have been out of there a while ago.
Okay. And then we said Nvidia was in. I don't think I heard the second part about Nvidia being in, even though I do know that, but now I do. I didn't.
Yeah, Janae posted it in there, and I just happened to say it as well.
Okay, well, cool. $, referring to Trading View. Okay, on the indices, sometime you need to put in $. Nvidia, Jamie is correct. Also, Sherwin-Williams is replacing Dow. Really? Because Dow was the paint type of people, and they're getting replaced by Sherwin-Williams. Ask Sherwin-Williams.
Well, Dow is like bigger than paint, so I'm surprised.
Yeah, it is. Dow is bigger than paint. That's true.
I'm surprised that they are. Sherwin-Williams is more known for just paint, right?
Well, but is Sherwin-Williams maybe more than paint, and that's all we know them for?
Good point.
It's because we know them for it. Doesn't mean that's all they do.
Good point.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the DJX. It looks a lot like the SPX chart as well. All righty. Let's go on from here. Do we want to do earnings first, or do we want to do this calendar first? Jamie, what are you thinking? I'm thinking calendar. Then
calendar.
Let me do calendar, and then we'll swing to you for earnings. Excuse me. This is our calendar coming up for this week with the daylight savings time shift. Did anybody miss the daylight savings time shift today? Did everybody wake up like they were supposed to? Did anybody's clock, or was anybody late to work or late to school or late to church today? Anybody?
And most importantly, did anybody not care? Either way.
That's not most important. No, it's not.
I'm just saying. Some people don't care either way.
If
your clock's at digital, you ain't got to worry about switching nothing.
That's not true, because the digital clock won't change on its own unless it's tied to the internet somehow.
Mine have been.
So now you got.
Well, outside of my microwave, but I'm saying everything else.
Yeah, my phone, of course, changed, but my digital clock that's on my nightstand stayed wrong.
Yeah, depending on the kind of software that's running it, there's usually a setting in the inside of settings you can tell it to change with the daylight savings time. So anytime I get any type of watch, clock, anything, I always check to see it, so it'll set it automatically.
That must be a more expensive clock, because my little cheapy clock don't do that.
Whatever.
My little cheapy clock does not have a setting that says nothing about no daylight savings time.
Whatever.
I'm just saying. So my watch changed, my phones changed, all the tablets changed, but the clocks didn't change, Jamie. Mine didn't.
Okay.
Mine no change. Tanya said she made it to church on time. Janae said this is the one time I was early. Ray said his cats got him up early. Tanya said she was late picking her mom up from the airport. So I had to go today to go and pick up I was trying to remind myself to go the last couple of days to go over to my school to pick up paper so I could grade them. And then yesterday I forgot all about it while we were out and about. And then this morning I was like, when I got home, I was like, when I need to go get those papers. So we got up early this morning and rode across town to go get those papers so I could grade them. So I've spent a good bit of my day grading papers. Janae says early is on time, right? How was it on lockdown? There was something that happened that locked it down. Let's go ahead and look at our calendar. Maybe tell me in the comments what happened. Here we go with the timing of so daylight savings time was today, as we just said. Monday, we've got yellow folders, factory orders month over month, and loan officer survey. Those are yellow folders. Tomorrow, Tuesday, 8:30 trade balance, yellow folder. But at 10, we've got ISM services PMI. That's a red folder. Presidential election on Tuesday. There's a red folder. Now, what happens? I don't know if it's going to necessarily affect the market on Tuesday, because you won't count votes and all those things until later, but it definitely is going. They should have put that on the rest of the week, or they definitely should have put it on Wednesday. Congressional elections all day on Tuesday. 10-year bond auction is showing as a yellow folder, but the 10-year bond auction, just a ding, 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 does make some volatility, right? So put this in your notes that the 10-year bond auction at 1:00 on Tuesday will move the market some. Presidential elections probably going to carry some weight. We'll see how, like through the day, I'm sure they'll be doing their coverages. or whatever. Wednesday, we got final services PMI and 10:30 crude oil inventories, right? 9:45 and 10:30. Those are both orange folders. 30-year bond auction, it also should be an orange folder because it will make a move on the market as well. And then Wednesday, I would presume that Wednesday is going to have some follow on or some follow over from the presidential election. All right. Thursday, unemployment claims at 8:30 in the morning. We got non-farm productivity, wholesale inventories at 10. Mortgage delinquencies is that day tentatively. 10:30 natural gas storage. 2 o'clock. This is the big one. Ding, ding, ding. FOMC member statement. FOMC statement is going to be Thursday at 2 o'clock. Thursday at 2 o'clock. Federal funds rate and FOMC statement, and the press conference will follow. Okay, that's going to all be on Thursday. Consumer credit at 3 o'clock. And then Friday, we've got some orange folder, University of Michigan consumer sentiments. So Janae said that the VP will be hosting her watch party at HU. So it's a tight security already. Okay. Ward said I was on the graveyard shift last night. I voted earlier last Monday. Yeah, we voted. My husband and I voted yesterday. Yesterday morning, we went to our vote. Yesterday morning. So that's out of the way for us. Janae, I was thinking though, Janae had made a comment about having gone to vote last week, but not having it been counted yet. My husband was interested to find out, how did you know your vote hadn't been tallied? Maybe there's something you can share with us. How do you know that your vote hasn't been tallied? Like, is there a way to go back and see to make sure that I was counted? I didn't know that was even a thing. So if there's something you know you can tell us, then do share. All right. Hey, Deborah, how you doing? Jamie, are you ready for this? You want to use this screen, or you got another one you want to use? Jamie, talking to you. This is me talking to you.
Yeah, I guess it'll be that one.
Okay. Selena says she's glad to hear so many of us voted. Mr. Marion said, usually you get an email confirmation. They didn't ask me for my email to give me no confirmation. Janae said my mail-in ballot. Okay, you had a mail-in ballot was accepted today. Yes, they track it and let you know via email or text. I was worried, but all good now. Okay. I didn't know. They don't know if they asked me for my email. Maybe they did. Anyway, go ahead, Jamie.
Yeah, actually, I'm waiting for mine to actually arrive, but yeah. So we got a lot of tech related things coming up, and so as y'all know, that is my thing in the tech sector. So let's talk about what's coming up. Many times with the tech sector, we have a tendency to hear the words tech sector and tech companies, but it turns out that a lot of times the companies are not always listed under tech. Sometimes, let's say, for example, Amazon will be considered, you might hear Amazon be referred to as one of the big tech companies, but they're actually not tech, even though they operate in that space.
Really? I would see them as tech.
Okay. But they don't necessarily operate in that space. Like if you look at, for example, you know what? Let me just share my screen so I can show this example really quick. So, and I'm not saying that what I'm about to show y'all is set in stone, but it is a good example of, and actually I'll do it this way. So can you see the screen right now, Alyssa?
Nope.
All right. Let's try it again. You can see in XP.
Yeah, I see it now.
Okay. So let me show you an example of what I mean. Okay. Sometimes you'll see something like if you go to finance.yahoo.com, for example, and we'll refer to Amazon as a tech company, but if you look at the sector, it's consumer cyclical internet retail.
Okay, which makes sense.
But when you go to something like, but they may have like a cloud-based service that's very popular. That would mean, oh, we're connected to tech in that way, as an
Mm-hmm.
example.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to, if you were to put in like Amazon, AWS, I'm just using this as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Their web hosting, server kind of product that they offer, that will put them in the tech space then, because that is technically cloud
Mm-hmm.
based. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying all that to say, so sometimes we will see stuff or certain companies that technically, it's kind of weird that they would be registered under tech. So
Mm-hmm.
what I do is, whenever I look at earnings, I kind of split everything out into two sections. The purple section, I split everything out into hardware or software, just to keep it clean. Hardware can be anything from semiconductors all the way to something like Sony. Sony is in the tech sector. We don't address it as a tech sector, but Sony is in the tech sector for consumer electronics.
That makes
So
sense.
whenever we reference XLK, which is the tech sector ETF, you rarely hear Sony being mentioned, even though technically they are competitors with Apple in a way, in that, because they, are both doing, Sony does some of everything, so does Samsung. But anyway, so whenever you see earnings thing, you see any squares on mine, the green squares is going to represent hardware, semiconductors, electronic components, things of that nature. And then anything purple is usually going to be something that's software related. But usually these are going to be in the tech space. And in this case, I'm counting, let's say, the general tech space. I'm not even counting what's going on in the healthcare, because the healthcare has their own information system and their own, hardware and stuff like that. That's like all
Mm-hmm.
unique to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not even
I'm
addressing what's
thinking
going on.
like Johnson Controls didn't fall into tech or hardware in tech.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Surprising, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of the software, put that in quotations, software that is coming up, we do have on Monday. Digital Ocean is not a big company, or shall I say, it's not a company that you hear a lot of people referencing. Is probably the better way of saying that. But them and Pfizer, if you're anywhere in the Milwaukee area, we have the Fiserv Forum, which is where the Milwaukee Bucks play. And so, DigitalOcean is also cloud computing, and what they refer to as like an infrastructure as a service. So they're providing basically the cloud. They're providing some type of cloud service for DigitalOcean. That's essentially what they're doing. And then for Fiserv, if you would ever type in their ticker, which is FIS, you would see that they're on the list as well, under the same technology, but they're under information services, but they offer financial services technology.
Mm.
Yeah, crazy, right? So even though they're under technology, information technology services, but they offer financial services. But even though they're not under the XLF sector, that's why all that stuff just seems so strange and convoluted. But that's why I
Yeah.
kind of narrow it down to. So on Monday, obviously, some of us are familiar with Palantir, which that's them are listed boys right there. Um, numbers crunching, data gurus, if you want to call them that. If you're looking at so after close, it'll be Palantir, Lattice, Lattice, which is LSCC. They also do develop semiconductors as well. Um, and then you have NXPI, which is also in the space on this side of the semiconductors. I won't geek out on y'all on it, but just know that all of these kind of fit together as it relates to, like, if you were building something that requires semiconductors, chances are you would see parts of like all of these in some of the same. If you need, let's say, if you need a Wi-Fi signal or something like that, you might be getting something from NXP, for example. So on Tuesday, we got Global Foundries down here. That's another one of the semiconductor. They make the semiconductors really, so you can put them on the same, in the same, I guess you could say, competitive space as Taiwan Semiconductor, as an example. So they would kind of be in that same space of, I'll say, competing with them. Competing with them in a way, it just, in terms of the way they're mentioned, they might do a little bit of different stuff, because Global Foundries does wafer fabrication. Won't geek out on you, but just know they're in the same space. That's on Tuesday. After close is a super micro, and I have been talking about super micro about 18 months ago. I was bringing them up and following them, and then recently they kind of took off. But with us, recently, meaning within the past 8 months, but their stock just dropped because of a quote unquote accounting situation.
Okay.
So somebody might have been fudging the numbers. You know,
Oh no.
if not fudging, they was doing something to them that was ungodly. So at the end of the day, the accounting firm that they were working with ended up, going their separate ways or what have you. But the stock definitely took a hit in that process. MCHP is another one in the semiconductor space. They are reporting after close, and the Big Bear AI is actually, that's software. We hardly ever hear about BBIA, but they are in the space. Technically, they're minding their own business, so I can't hate on them. But anytime you see AI on anything, just know somebody's paying attention. So they're all a part of that artificial intelligence, power decision intelligence solution, that kind of thing. So they actually do like national security level stuff, biometrics and things like that. That's what the Big Bear AI is. Wednesday after close is ARM, and some of y'all are probably aware of ARM. And so ARM is who NVIDIA was trying to buy recently within the past year and some change. ARM has this proprietary, I guess you could say, I don't even know if you would call it software, but it's they license it out to the semiconductor companies. What it does, it allows for the computer chips, the semiconductors to be cooler, but they don't lose functionality. And that's a big deal. If NVIDIA would have bought them, that means that all these other semiconductor companies would have had to go through NVIDIA to cool down their chips.
Why did NVIDIA not buy them? They weren't allowed.
They wasn't allowed to, is my understanding.
Okay.
That would have caused, well, it would have caused a problem in the industry, but I think it goes along the lines of they didn't say antitrust or anti-competitive, but it was kind of in that vein. It was kind of like reported in that vein. Because, to be honest with you, I'm more surprised that they didn't. I'm more surprised that they wasn't able to buy it. But the people that they currently collaborate with now, them being NVIDIA, that they collaborate with now, would have been coming to them as customers.
Okay. So
that was going to be a problem. But ARM makes billions of dollars on that intellectual property.
Okay.
Qualcomm, of course, is also in that hardware space. You'll see them, and you see them they're in some of everything as well. QCOM, we also trade them. AppLovin is their app, but AppLovin is actually, I think they are in real estate. So real estate, all right. Let me think about that. No, they would be in advertising. App 11 is in advertising. And so so people can like monetize their content and things of that nature. So that's what they're doing. They're in that space. And they're under semiconductor software application. My favorite out of all of these is this one here at the bottom reporting after close is Ion Q. And I really like them. I've been watching them for a while. And the reason why is because what they're doing is they're into quantum computing. I will not get into the weeds on it, but quantum computing on the level that they're doing it, their customers are basically, Amazon Web Service, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Marketplace, cloud-based services. And what they do is, instead of, let's say, a semiconductor, if you think about your computer, it has a CPU in it, right? So if you take a whole bunch of other CPUs, that's going to generate a ridiculous amount of heat. Well, the way they put things together is all about keeping all of that cool. So they'll be able to have more data being processed, but the way they put the quantum computing together and the way they cool it, it's on some revolutionary stuff. So that's another one that the stock price is low right now. I'm kind of just waiting to see when they're gonna turn a profit. You know what I'm saying? But I'm definitely watching them. So that's Wednesday. Thursday before market open is Datadog, and I know some people are following them. That's the security platform. They monitoring performance and database monitoring, things of that nature, workflow automation. They pay attention to all of that. After close that day will be Block, which everybody knows is Square. Unity does 3D software. Most of y'all familiar with the trade desk. These other two are software as a service. Most of us know Affirm. Fortinet is probably the one that a lot of people have seen before, but don't really know what all they do. But they're definitely in that space as well. It would not surprise me if what's going on for this week, if we see some serious movement in XLK with this combination of things happening.
I'm thinking a lot of volatility for XLK for sure.
Yeah, because it's software and sometimes when I think it was last week seemed to have a little bit more semiconductors, but there's a whole lot more software this week. So it wouldn't surprise me to see more of but Fortinet, what they're doing cybersecurity is essentially what they do. So that's after close on Thursday. And of course, Sony's not considered I would say they might not be considered a quote big dog on the tech side, but they're the consumer electronics is a category that they're in. And so they, you rarely hear about them probably because their stock price isn't all that high. I mean, I don't even know if they're not even at $20 a share, if I'm not mistaken.
Who's that?
Sony. They're probably not even at 18.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But for a company that we all know, and been, their hands are in everything. That's an example of a company that we would consider to be the huge company that don't really have like sway in the market, so to speak, in terms of its stock price jumping or falling or what have you. But so there's plenty of stuff in the tech space overall that should, that's going to have my eyes open, and I'll be watching Triple Q, XLK, SOXL to see what'll be going on for this week.
Okay, cool. Very thorough look at some of the technical things that are coming up in the earnings. I see any like bigger boys. Berkshire Hathaway is Monday before open. Yum China is here, which is the Yum Brands of China. I see that Cleveland Cliffs is up here. on Monday after market closes. Tuesday sundial. I do see that there's several, 2 or 3 different things that are like cannabis based. I know for us, the cannabis is back on the Florida ballot. Amendment 3 for us, and you may be another different number for other states, but here it's Amendment 3 that is to legalize the use of public use or use of marijuana for personal use of marijuana. It is on our ballot this time. Of course, it's still not going federal just yet, but it's only a matter of time before there is that, and these canopy stocks are going to, these cannabis stocks are going to maybe start to make some get out the way. Okay, so Tuesday, go ahead, Jamie.
I will say this, sorry to interrupt. With sundial, the one stock that I am watching when it comes to that space is Tilray.
Okay.
And the only reason why I'm watching them is because they did something that I thought was a smart move. They branched out past just cannabis, and they went out and purchased other products like they own like beer. I think they own is it called Shock Top, which is a beer brand. I think that was a Miller Coors. It was like a couple different things that they bought. Which is essentially what Pepsi did. Pepsi was always known for soda, just like Coke. Coke is known for sodas and soft drinks, but Pepsi went out and started buying all these snacks and all these other things.
Water, all other things too.
Say it again.
I said they do water. Water's a big thing.
Yeah. So I think when Tilray did that, to me, that was a smart move because it's like, hey, we don't know when this is going to be cleared on the federal level. So when it does happen, it won't be our main bread and butter. So I thought that was a smart move on their part to do that.
I agree with that because for one thing that we found is that one of the main reasons why some of these cannabis companies are, not up and running strong is because they can't get any funding whatever funding they have to bring it in with customers or private donations because they can't get any federal, they can't get any loans or anything like that because if something's not federally legal, then you can't get money for it. So basically you have to get it for other ways. So that's just something to think about for those who, are concerned about that space. When I look at Tuesday after that, besides the things that you've already mentioned, I don't really see anything that really jumps out at me. Wednesday before the market opens, Toyota is down here. Johnson Controls, we mentioned before. American Electric Power is here. Wednesday after close, AMC still hanging around. ELF is here Wednesday after the close. Thursday morning.
Do you still trade AMC?
I don't.
Man, I haven't looked at it in ages. It's been a while. Probably a year.
Yeah, we used to trade it regular. I haven't traded in probably the same amount of time that we're talking about it. Thursday morning is Moderna. That seems to keep, seems to stay in the limelight enough. DraftKings is Thursday after close. The folks who are the gamblers are probably waiting and looking for that. Rivian is there. Pinterest, Airbnb. And then on Friday, Canopy Growth I mentioned, and I guess that's really kind of about Blooming Brands. I'm going to say that Blooming Brands probably is another cannabis company. Do you all know? I don't. I'm thinking it probably is. That sounds like something that would be cannabis based.
I don't know. I always thought. I'll check. I always thought they were. I thought that was a restaurant. Or
it might be, but Blooming to me sounds cannabis, but I see they got a Chinese symbol. Right. Looks like there's an Asian symbol behind the word brands, so it may be something else.
Yeah, it's restaurant related.
It's restaurant related. Okay.
Yeah, they own that's why. Yeah, they own Carrabba's.
Do they? Maybe that's the Bloomin'. That has to go with the Bloomin' Onion.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, they own Carrabba's and Bonefish Grill. It's two and Outback. That's probably where I recognize them.
Yeah, that's where the Bloomin' thing comes from. Yeah. So it says, Curtis said that Berkshire Hathaway announced their earnings this weekend. How do you get to do that? Biggest takeaway from Berkshire was that they said another 25%, or they sold another 25% of their Apple shares, and more. Bank of America, they're sitting on 325 billion in cash. Oh my goodness. Tanya says Berkshire Hathaway should have gone ahead and let me hold something, right? Should send a few, share the wealth, to be act like Robin Hood or somebody. That's what y'all ought to do. Act like
Y'all
Robin
understand
Hood.
when they say 325 billion in cash, like if that doesn't highlight that the whole point ain't about just having money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If it was just about having money, they don't as even as a company, they've surpassed what the average company would need. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like some people are happy with $1 million, $2 million revenue. These cats are sitting on over $250 billion just to be kicking it.
We just chilling.
This is Scrooge McDuck's vault. This is Scrooge McDuck's vault, and they just chilling.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, well, they're just chilling with their 325 Billy. Lord, you can trust me, Jesus. You can trust me. I just need the Lord to know that he could trust me. He could trust me with a few dollars. You could trust me with a few of these dollars. All right. So this week or the other day, actually, I put out a video about is the strat for option sellers. And y'all have heard me talk about the strat for a while. I've mentioned the strat and how it's just a very easy, a very visual system to see. I put out a video that talked about using it for option sellers and buyers and how it can be used for both. Go ahead and look up that video. I might have to go find the link, but you can go to my YouTube channel if you're already on my YouTube channel, and you can see the strat for option sellers. This is the most recent video that I uploaded. Go take a check. Let me know. You leave me a comment or something on the video. Let me know what you think about what I said, about what I was talking about. Before that one, I did put out a video about trends and broadening formations. A little bit earlier today, I mentioned broadening formations, which basically where price is expanding and it's like price discovery when it starts to hit the highs. And you want to see how can you identify the trends and the broadening formations and use those to your advantage. You don't necessarily just want to find them, but how can I use these trends and broadening formations to help inform entries and exits from my trades? That's what we're after when we do that, okay? Here is our list for the week. Here is our trades list for the week. I mentioned earlier that we did 18% return on our credit spreads last week. I want you, while I'm talking, to go ahead and look at the ones you like here. I wrote a few down that we will look at, but this is our good little list, right? The list, we get our watch list from Peakbot.
You able to zoom in on that?
I can. Yep, you need it to be bigger.
Well, I would imagine if somebody's on a smaller screen that we're blocking at the bottom.
Well, we're not blocking the letters here, but I'll change that. But we're not blocking. If we're over to the left, then we're not blocking that. But I don't it doesn't seem like I can make it any bigger.
Okay.
So yeah, no, but anybody who's following me on any social media platform, if you're following me, when I say any, not quite any, if you are on my Facebook page, if you're an educator to trader, if you're in my community, if you're in any of my telegrams, if you follow us on Twitter, any of those places, you can see this graphic, right? And if you get email from me, you can see this graphic. So anybody should have this graphic somewhere. It goes to all the places every day. I did put it out yesterday. I put it out a little bit earlier this week, and I may even continue to do that, or maybe do it a little earlier in the week. Well, I'm working on that to see how I'm gonna work that. But here we are. Basically, here's our good long list. We use Peakbot for automated trading, of course. We also use Peakbot for our watch list. And the watch list within Peakbot gives us whether it's bearish, bullish, or neutral. Bearish, bullish, or neutral based on the 50 weeks moving average, 50-day moving average. So the things that are bullish end up on the put credit spread list. The things that are bearish end up on our call credit spread list. And the things that are neutral end up on our iron condor list. I asked ChatGPT what was the most profitable and lucrative trading strategy to use with options. Okay, they are already working with E-Trade. Peakbot is already working with E-Trade. You can already hook up with them. But I asked ChatGPT, what is the most lucrative and profitable strategy to use for options trading? And ChatGPT came back and said, ding, 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 iron condors. So listen, we in the right place, baby. We in the right place. ChatGPT said iron condors was the most consistent, profitable, and lucrative thing to do. So here we are. We've got some iron condors to choose from, right? And the good thing about iron condors is that you get to utilize your capital on both sides without having to double up on collateral. So you get to take in money from both sides, but you don't have to release your buying power on both sides. We'll take it. We'll take it. We'll take it. So as you're looking at the list, is there anything on here that you want us to look at? I'm sure I'll put in the comments the ones I'm going to look at. And then we'll go from there. I got Apple. I'm going to look at Google and Google is almost like looking at the same thing. I'm going to look at SPY. I'm going to look at the triple Qs. I'm going to look at Netflix. I'm going to look at Adobe. I'm going to look at Merck and TJ Maxx. I'll look at Costco, CVX, Triple M, Exxon, and Microsoft. Those are the ones I have on the list. And it's a pretty long list to look at, but if you got something else you want us to add. But yes, Curtis, Peakbot actually started using E-Trade. I want to say a couple weeks ago. I think they were trialing them, and if you wanted to do it, you could get in with their beta and jump in using Peakbot there. And y'all know I'm a fan, because tell chat to give me some money too. Y'all know I'm a fan of Peakbot. And to have it automated and to kind of save yourself that the I won't say hassle, but to save yourself the emotions that are included with trading. If you can take out those emotions and just let the automated bot do some of the work for you, then you're in good shape. Janae says, tell chat to give me some money too. Well, chat may not send any dollar bills, they just may not send any dollar bills. If you're still hanging out with us, please go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. Let me see, I don't want that. Like and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and do that. Let's look at some charts, see what we see. Okay, I'm going to start with Apple. I'll put it on the daily chart. Now, these are all weekly expirations, right? Which means I'm looking for an expiration on November the 8th. I'm looking for expiration on November the 8th. That's what all of these that I look at, that's what we're looking at, is an expiration on Friday. All right. Let's look at some charting. Now, when I do the charting, I do it on I won't say superficial, but I don't get super deep into the charting. Right, we hit some good little places. I highlight some important things that are important as far as what's happening in the chart. Some support, some resistance. I'll show if we've got some gaps. The close of this to the open of that, it pulled back off of it. So this is the amount that the gap is still left to fill on that day. There's a little bitty gap here too. It's teensy weensy, which teensy weensy is a measurement, just so you know. That's a whole measurement. Teensy weensy is a measurement. Don't even act like it's not. It's a measurement, okay? Look, but Apple had some news. Didn't Apple have some news this week, Jamie, for something that just came out?
Wait a minute. Didn't Apple just have earnings?
Apple had earnings?
No, Apple's earnings wasn't this past week. I know that they just released some new I almost want to call them goggles, but it's called Apple Intelligence.
Apple had earnings. That's what Curtis said. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that they came out with their new updated. They got some new tech equipment that's out as well.
Tech equipment.
You know, the new the Mac Mini and all that other stuff. Mm-hmm. Which is what I was looking for anyway.
Yeah, the Mac Mini. Mine is doing its due. All right. So what I see, Apple showed up on the bullish list, even though it's kind of been in a consolidation zone here. It's kind of danced up and around, but it's showing up on the bullish list. Probably if you look at a trend, if you look from a trend standpoint, we've had, here, here, here. We're kind of right there. So it's coming right into this trend. Oh, come on, go ahead and there we go. Go ahead and set. So it could definitely hit that place based on this here and then bounced. Let me show you. This line here really bounced off of here. So you see it, the line went down into here the last day, which was Friday, and Friday was a green day. So what were you getting ready to say, Jamie?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was muted.
No. So yeah, there we are with that. I see 215 as our support area, which puts us right down here. 215 puts us right down at the bottom of this support, which is a good little bit away, but 215 is there. Let's go look at what our implied volatility number shows. Let's go to single, and let me make this a little bit bigger so everybody who is looking at their phones can see it in big size, very large. Okay, come on. There we go. There we go. We've got an implied volatility of 7. So if you subtracted 7 from it, that puts you down around the 215. Plus 215 has a probability out of the money of 79%, which is what we want, a delta of about 19. So if you're looking for delta around 20 or below, puts us at 215, right? So 212.5, 215. 212.5, 215. Anytime you find these, you can always expand or, widen your spread. Just make sure that the sell leg is what you're concerned most about. That's the one that you don't want to be breached. So I've got 215, 212.5 is a put credit spread. Looks like, market's closed, but it's paying $41 now for a 2.5 spread. That is pretty good premiums. 212.5, 215. It's on the list. I'm confirming and sending, and I'll send it up so tomorrow when the market opens, it'll catch it or it will not. It should. I left it as good till canceled, so that way we can let it run and do its thing all the way up. All right, so we've got this is Goog, G-O-O-G, not Google, which Goog and Google are very close. They're just not quite the same. They're a bit different. So good support. Resistance it showed over here, resistance it is over here. Now that price is coming down, it could potentially play support. This 169 area could potentially play support, right? 169 and 168 could do that. So what I have is Google is also on the put credit spread based on the being bullish. 167.5 is the 167.5 is the sell leg that we're looking at. We've got implied volatility of 5.8. So if we were to take away about 6 from this, we put ourselves right around 166, 167, somewhere in here. If you want it to be 165, what do I have? 167.5. 165 is a 14 delta. 167.5 is a 23 delta, which is a 76% probability out of the money. When I'm looking at these strikes, I'm looking for at least 75. So if it's higher than that, I want to get as close as possible without being too close. So I'm looking for the strikes that is as close as possible without being too close. So for me, a 75% probability of being successful or higher, that's a guess yes for me. Some folks really go with at least 80%, and that's kind of a personal preference. Just know if you go a little further away, you're going to get a little less in premiums, right? 165, 167.5, currently paying about $39. If you said, I want to go one more away, then 165, 162.5 is paying $23. That's almost 10%, but not quite. So if I can get a little closer, not with Arid Extra Dry, just a little closer, then I try to do that. 165, 167.5 on Goog, G-O-O-G. is what I see as a put credit spread, right? And when we look at Google with an L, right? Google with the L, we can change it, not there. We can go to the single, right? This one has a little bit of a difference. 165 is what shows up as 80% probability out of the money, or 18 delta. Again, it's also bullish. So it's a little bit down one more step. So 162.5, 165 is paying $31 on Google. And we got some people, I think Tanya in my community trades Google pretty regular. So if you trade something regularly and you see, how it functions on a regular basis, then you can watch and see how does it move, and does it get wild. Like we were trading EMPH for a while, and EMPH, good stuff, but it will get wild on you. So you just had to know that that's how it was going to be. So when you were trading it, you respected the zones, respected that implied volatility number, because EMPH could really, move. And when you watch something, regularly, you can see how it's going to, this is how you're going to know how a stock moves. That's why it's not necessarily great to have a bunch of things that you trade regularly. You can have a good little 5 to 10 watch list that you trade on a regular basis. All right. And then trade them over and over and over. Basically work them like an employee over and over and over. All right. I see support on SPY. We're going to talk about SPY real quick. It is on the bullish list. Even though it has gone up here and pulled back, it went up to 586, which was the all-time high, and it has pulled back off of there. There's a gap up here that it needs to try to fill, right? We've got that, but we're coming into some support at 567. Now, this last candle from Friday, this inverted hammer or shooter, you want to call it, is an indication of some more downwards motion. But it is coming into some support that is in the 567 area. So if you get a strike that's below that, then you're good. Now we've got 556 as our support, just because, SPY and those guys can be a little wild thing. Don't. Okay, so let's do some more lines down here so we can see what we see. This is 539. There's something definitely between those two. Here we go. 552 is in here. It's a lot happening in this little zone right here. This puts us in that 558, 556 area, right? When we go to SPY and we look for Fridays, looking for, I jumped all the way down to November the 8th. If you're talking about SPY, you're talking about doing Friday. It's got an implied volatility of plus minus 15. So if you take 15 away from this, that's where you come with the 556, taking 15 away from that. Janae said this week might be filled with volatility to the downside. There's going to be volatility, period. So just know, I would be quite cautious this week. There's going to be a lot. When that election results come out, we're going to feel that. Now, a lot of these things, the market bakes these things in. So it may already be priced in. The volatility being up, those kind of things may already be priced in. You could do, two things. You can trade as usual, like nothing's going on, or you can, use watching as a strategy, because watching is a strategy. There's nothing wrong with not trading and just watching. Okay. I wanted to go, I need a few more strikes if I'm going to look at SPY, need a little more room. Okay, we're going to maybe a 20 delta, looking at about 20, 25 delta somewhere in here. I like this area. I think I have 556, and that's because of the implied volatility number, and I'm fine with staying there because SPY and those guys can be a lot happening. So 555, 556 at this point is paying about $18. That's about an 18% return on your $100 of collateral. If you want more, you of course can widen the spread. The importance is that you have a sale leg that you are comfortable with. You need to be comfortable with that sale leg. Triple Q. Looking at triple Q, right? We've got us some resistance up here, up here. Oh, no, let's go ahead and leave that line. How about we do that? Support down at 476. Some more down here, 471 and some change. I have 472 on our list, and that's primarily based on the implied volatility number. But we've got some support down in the 471.27, and there's some support here, 479. There's several levels, you know, the Qs. These right here have a bunch of up, down, up, down. Sometimes what you can do if you're looking at some of these charts and you're seeing a lot of levels that seem to be too many, right? You can go to a higher time frame, maybe go to the weekly chart, look for stronger zones, because we know that the weekly chart is going to have stronger zones than the daily chart. You say, okay, I see some resistance right here where this gap gets going is 498. We do know it's still bullish. We can see that. Support here at 448. What do I have for Qs? 472, which is way up there, right? 472 is up in here. We've got 479 is some support, will be support now based on these two touches, right? 472 would be here based on these two, this little area here. 472 is what we would look at. Let's go to trade. Still looking at November the 8th. 472. I need one more. This is what I find interesting here is triple Q is a one spread all along, 111, and then right in the 472 area, it gets to be a 0.5. It also does it in the 477 area and the 482. Wonder why it is doing this around the 87s, the 77s, the 72s, the 82s. Why does it become 50-cent spreads in those areas? I don't have an answer, but I'm just saying that it does that, right? It is doing that. I've got 472 as our support. So 471, 472. Put credit spread at $19. Let's bump us up $1. Put it on good till canceled. That's what I see for triple Q, 472. Right? Now we'll move on to Netflix. Let's move on to Netflix. Netflix is also in the bullish category. Also in the bullish category. Let me get off the weekly and get back to the daily. Netflix has more lines than I like to see at one time. So we're going to have to take all these off. It's too many lines in one place, baby. I can't see clearly. Okay, so this is the gap from the close of one candle to the open of the next would be that gap right there on the daily. And this hasn't been filled in. All of this is waiting, still waiting. It's still waiting for it to get filled, right? The top of this gap roughly is there. We've got the top of that 773, which was the high there. The bottom of the gap is here. We've got some supports in the middle of it. Okay, so still showing as bullish though. Up, higher, with lower, higher lows, and higher highs. Higher lows and higher highs. So it's still showing, even though it's got this gap here in the middle. I've got for Netflix 732.5. Janae, you still trading Netflix? 732.5 is right here where this in this resistance area, right around. Nope, it's actually right in the middle of these two. Just below the 734. We got 732.5 is our support area, or is our strike. Which, nope, I was going to say something else. That's not true. So 732.5 is about $50, about a 20% return on your collateral would be good. And I'm kind of seeing that if we go back to that chart, we might be able to get right above this high, the 773. You might be able to make this into an iron condor. Okay, it's currently at 756. And if you were to go look at the trade, plus or minus 23 is an implied volatility number. So if you added 23 to the current price here, that puts you at like what, 780, which is above that 773. Okay, take this and add 23 to it. That puts us at about 780. On the other side, now up here, it becomes a 5 spread. So if you're going to do that put credit spread side, you need to be ready to put a little more collateral. But the way you counteract this is you do 2 of the put credit spreads and then do 1 of the call credit spreads. That's paying $100. Here we go, Jamie. Your daddy's back on the scene. It pays $100, almost $98. We can bump it up to about a nice little 100. 780, 785. We can go ahead and put that. So we're going to collect $100 on the call credit spread side. And then we looked at $50 on the put credit spread side. And we're going to do 2 of those. So let's go. We want to edit this to get 2 of these. 2 of the 2.5s to 1 of the 1.5s means we're going to collect about $200 for a 5 spread. So that's a good little return on your Mantis. Okay, let's return. I'm going to cancel, replace this, and put in 2 of these. 2 of the 2.5s equals 1,500. That way you're using the same collateral. You're using the same collateral. Janae said, yep, last week she did a call credit spread. Looks like you might be able to do again. Even though it's showing bullish on the 50 period moving average, we also look at charts. We do them both together. We put our pieces together based on what we know. Tanya said, tag me in at Janae. She didn't even let you know, did she? She jumped out there trading stuff, didn't even tell you she was going. I'm going in and just leaving you hanging. Okay, so Adobe is on the call credit spread list because it is showing bearish on the 50-day moving average. Okay, we got a big old gap up here that Adobe gets back to this gap. It's gonna be some good money for those who are trading calls. If it decides it's coming back up to that gap there, you're gonna be able to. Some people gonna be able to ride in, but it's been going the other direction. Okay, so we've got a call credit spread. I've got 500 or 500 as we would say, as Jamie's father would say. 500 is our strike. This is our resistance is at 497. Actually, there's another one right here in the 488 area. 488 area. Adobe. I don't need this many strikes anymore, I don't think. Makes it hard for me to find what I'm looking for. We got an implied volatility of 17. So if you add that to this, you're at what, 4? You're actually right at 500, which is, where that's come from. 500, 502.5. On this is Adobe paying $52. That's a 20% return on your collateral. 500, 502.5. All these numbers that I'm calling are on that sheet, are on our graphic. So all those numbers are there. I didn't say this, but I want to say this on this particular call that I don't want you to enter these while the market is closed. I'm setting them up because I'm on this call with you all and I want you all to see me doing it. But these trades, these credit spreads trades needs to be entered when the market is open. You really should, have an idea of where you want your strike to be. Take a check, maybe let some of the day happen on Monday. So that way you can see what is price action actually doing. Maybe enter later in the day on Monday, maybe enter Tuesday morning, that kind of thing. If you're not going to enter the previous week, let's see what Monday, Tuesday do. Gotta give it a little bit of room and time so you can see what price action actually does. All right. And then, look at my strikes. You can look at your own probability out of the money, deltas, all those good things, and then see if you still agree with the strikes that are on the sheet. All right. There's a little bitty gap. It's a little bitty gap right there. That's still there. We're looking at, this is Merck we're looking at. And Merck is on the call credit spread list because it is showing as bearish also. All right. I have Merck as 105, just above this 104.87, this one here, and this itty bitty gap. 105 is what I see for Merck. 105, 106, paying $18. I'm going to bump it up to a nice little 20. Put me a good till canceled. Confirm and send. Right? That was a Merck. What do we see anything on the chart that was of interest in Merck? Because, I'm always looking for an iron condor opportunity. I don't necessarily see, well, this was pretty good little support. Let me see now. Let's go back before I say too quickly. Right. Come on. Sorry, you all moving it fast in your eyes. This right here is a good spot. Y'all see this big old wick right here? That big old wick basically let you know it wanted some more upwards action. And it did just that. Now, the next day was kind of doji-ish, but this wick said there was buyers in here like, we know we're not going down. We're not going down. So you really may be able to, on Merck, to go look at a put credit spread also. Let's go see what would be a good number on Merck on a put credit spread side. A 13, we got 17 delta here. I would probably go with the 98. We got an implied volatility of 3.6. We take away 3, that puts us at 98. Yep, I would go with 97, 98 in this area. That's the chart supports that, and the strike supports that, because 100 is where the support is, and it's above that now. So 98 gives you a little bit of room. Yep, let's see. I would go 97, 98. Also put that on. That way, if you're going to get your $20 on one side and $13 on the other side, that gives you $33 for a one spread. That's about a 33% return. Even if you close it early, you can keep a good little bit of that money. Money, money, money. Run me my money. Yeah, run me my money. TJ Maxx is showing up on the bearish list. On the bearish list, we got 114. I have 116 as a strike. It's a lot of stuff that happened right in here. Okay, right in there. 116 is what I have on the call credit spread list for TJ Maxx. 116 is paying $16, maybe bump it up a couple dollars just to see if you can, make a few more. I usually will bump mine up a dollar or two. I figure if it don't do nothing but pay my fees, I'll be okay with that. Whew. In case you haven't heard just yet, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. If you're still hanging out with us and hanging out to see what's going on, like and subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up, hit the notification bell, all the good things, so that way you can always see us. We're here on every weekday morning that the market is open. We're here at 9:45. We are here. Me and Jamie here providing the antics. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing, providing the antics and trying to make sure that we provide some trading information also along the way. COST. Now let's look at some iron condors. I've got 5 of these: Costco, CVX, or Chevron, Triple M or 3M, Exxon, and Microsoft are the 3 I'm going to look at. If there's something else you want looked at, it needs to find its way into the comments. You need to find it into the comments. If you're watching me on Facebook, we are over on YouTube. We're over on YouTube. Okay, so iron condor, which means you can do a put credit spread and a call credit spread at the same time. You don't have to enter them at the same time, but both trades are running and you're collecting premiums from both sides, right? Iron condors come when Peakbot shows it as neutral on the 50-day moving average. So what I have for Costco is 850 as an under strike, which there's a gap down here that's hiding. It was hiding. Okay, the close of one candle to the open of the other would have put us right there. Right, this is where we would be. There's been a little bit of price action since then. I can pull back off all that. So this gap, that gray part, is still the gap, and it needs a filling. It needs a filling. Okay, so 850 is what I have on the put credit spread side, and 902.5 is what I have on the call credit spread side, just above this 901. There's a few resistance areas. I think my watch just changed my chart there. I hit the pad on my laptop. There we go. Okay, so let's go see what kind of money. Y'all got y'all pencils out? What kind of money can we pull in on Costco? Okay, 850, 845. This is a 5 spread. So we're going to do 850, 845, 850. That's on the put credit spread side. We would take in $76. $76. 5 spread, $76 is a 15% return. Yep, $5. That's about a 15% return on that money. I'm putting a few more dollars on here, and then we'll do good till canceled and confirm send. We're also going to look at 902.5. Now we can do 2 of these because we did a 5 spread on the put credit spread side. So this is a 2.5 spread. We can use the same collateral. We can do 2 of these, which means we're going to take in 45 times 2. So $90 plus the $80, we're taking in $170, which means we're only putting up capital of $330. 170 off a 5 spread, that's a 30% return on your money. 5 spread, 30% of that is about 150. We taking in 170, so it's more than 30% return. Cost code. Yes, Jamie?
When you get back to the chart, take a look at that chart pattern.
Okay, we're going to go back to that here in a minute. I will look at it. You will have whatever you want to say. 850, put credit spread, and 902.5, 905. Now, none of this is investment advice, in case I didn't say that yet, which I did not. None of this is investment advice. All right, let's go to the chart pattern so Jamie can talk about what he sees. All right, Jamie.
I was just asking where it keeps landing in the same spot in terms of where it's turning around here at. What is that?
874.
So if you go back to the left, it's been there. It keeps retesting. That overall chart pattern should be, what is that?
1, 2, 3. What's this? A triple bottom?
I'm gonna say triple bottom.
Yeah.
So that look like that might be. Let me just say, it wouldn't surprise me at all if at some point soon it ends up falling through there.
Yeah.
Unless
yeah,
it goes another bottom, but
these big old wicks let you know that there was buyers in here. In here. That's not here. Not in here. Listen, I do know how to speak the King's English. You all can tell that I do know how. It's just I have to make the choice regularly. Okay, yes, be mindful. As Jamie is saying, he's making a very good point. Be mindful that if it keeps touching at some point, it could weaken this and then now it has a gap down here that it does want to finish filling. So where the gap takes us down to 862, and the bottom of this gap will provide support. Right, we were selecting 850 as our strike for the put credit spread, which is down here. 850 is a little bit lower than the bottom of that gap. That's Costco. That 170 and some changes could be some good money for an iron condor trade there. All right, let's go to CVX. Chevron had earnings this past week. Actually looks like it was Friday morning. Close of one candle to the open of the other. There we go. It does have some support in here. No, not you. I need a line. It's bumped in here a couple times. Chevron is showing up on the iron condor list as neutral, showing up as neutral. Let's bring this back over in here. Now I do see that it's been climbing, and it's got a couple top touches. It jumped above this line. I have the call credit spread side as 157.5, which would be up in here with, nope, that's not what I wanted. I wanted this, but let me get us back to the finger so I can get bigger. Sorry, y'all. There we are. Okay, we jumped above this. That's why we created this gap, jumped above this now this area that was resistance from these 2 touches back here in June is now going to play support. So I've got 148 as the support, or 148 as the put credit spread strike, and 157.5 as the call credit spread strike. 148, 157.5. 148, we got a 1 spread down here, paying $15. I think I'm going to need 2 of these because above here is a 2.5 spread. 157.5 gives us a 2.5 spread, not 5 spread, 2.5 spread. So we're collecting $42 there. So if we collect 20, 40, 80 on a 2.5, good returns. Good returns. Where did you go? Nope, I don't want you. I don't want you, baby. 157.5. There we go. I need this and make good till cancel. That's what I needed. Okay. That's Chevron. Chevron. 3M. Let's look at the chart. 3M has a gap way down here. Between 103 and 112, there is a gap on 3M. Looking for supports. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, give me the finger back. Support at 124. Resistance or chair at like 137. There's another resistance area in the 134.66. I've got 123 and 131. 123 and 131 for support and resistance. Well, no, for strikes. 123, 122, 123. This is 3M. This is looking jacked. This shouldn't be red and say debit. That's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to say credit. So this needs to flip over to a plus, and then it says credit. So I'm going to want at least $15, if not more so, and probably more. Once the market opens, these prices fix themselves. 123 and 131. 131 paying $16. So if we had 15 on one side, 16 on the other, we've got $31 we're taking in for a 1 spread. That's why I like iron condors, because you receive premiums from both sides. Let's look at Microsoft. Microsoft. There we go. Microsoft had some news. And then somebody said they had earnings last week, right? Microsoft had earnings last week. Yes, they did. Right here. It didn't go so well for them. What do you think happened? What do y'all think happened with Microsoft? What was wrong with the earnings? Like, why did they have such a dip in there? Was their guidance bad? Because aren't they working big in AI? What happened with Microsoft? Jamie, do you know?
Yes, you are correct. And can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, you are correct in terms of what they're doing in that space. They still, working with the AI stuff. I know that one of the things I think was probably an issue is that I think their third quarter earnings was lower than expected. And I do know that who was it? You remember when they had that outage with CrowdStrike?
Yeah.
Okay, so Microsoft and CrowdStrike are tied together, and I think Boeing was it Boeing? Somebody just had announced that they're suing CrowdStrike.
Oh,
because of that. So that part I do remember seeing.
What they got to do with Microsoft though?
Because those two are joined at the hip when it comes to CrowdStrike.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh, is that what's going on? But yeah, my understanding was that their even though their cloud computing services grew, that is called Azure, even though that actually did grow, there's like all these other little things that's happening that we probably would consider not that big of a deal, because it's like, 2 quarters from now it's probably going to be nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that when it came to the earnings, everybody wasn't necessarily all that happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All righty. Well, that's what I see. Microsoft, it's kind of dancing around in a zone too. This earnings piece didn't help much. Let's go see what we go ahead.
Sidebar, when it comes to some of those cloud-based services, so Microsoft is called Microsoft Azure.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon is Amazon Web Services, and Amazon and Microsoft are basically the two top dogs that's kind of battling it out for that. So some of that can have some impact on that too. Just like, we know everybody knows Nvidia is a top dog, but that's not going to stop AMD from trying to take some of the market share, things like that. So you kind of have the same kind of situation. Whatever one of their guess you would call it profit puppies might be, there's still somebody who's in competition for it as well. So the if third quarter isn't that good, that means that forward guidance needs to be strong, or the shares could take a hit as well.
Okay. Gotcha. It's not just how you did past. You also have to look at how you plan to do in the future.
Yeah, because that market share was about, I think they were saying that it dropped about 6%, which was like the worst day on Wall Street since like October of maybe 2022.
Okay.
So that's that. We all know Microsoft as a company that's probably they've been around for so long that we know
Right.
like it's gonna fold the whole company from it. But
Right.
but yeah, the earnings were record earnings, to say the least. So
Okay.
Okay. Might not have been as high as everybody projected, but they wasn't broke.
Okay. Curtis said the investors were upset with the amount of money they're spending on OpenAI without any return that they can see currently. Well, you got to put the money into it, because you sleep on it and you be behind the ball. We can point at too many companies that didn't make their turn. Q Blockbuster, Q. We can Q a few different companies. Q Kodak, Q. I mean, there's several companies that we can. Is it ready? There's a few companies we can think about who didn't make the turn, and it did not fare well for them.
And the thing is, ChatGPT and Microsoft, from all areas that I can see, have been working together. Somebody might, from one company might go over to the other. So it's not even like, it's not even a situation. Microsoft has enough software, or shall I say enough faith in ChatGPT that it's already put it in its software.
Right.
What I mean? So it's that's gonna cost some money.
Yeah.
But I don't think the way it's being done, I think the shareholders might be being unrealistic, because AI right now for them is not like a separate product, like software for them to sell.
Right.
Infrastructure play that's probably going to pay off in terms of services coming up, because you can create more and do more stuff with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the kind of situation with Facebook and the whole metaverse thing. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh yeah, they spending too much money," but it's not a play that's going to show up right now.
Right.
So
gotcha. Curtis said that Microsoft spent $10 billion on OpenAI in January. That's a lot. That's a lot of billies to spend on Chatty. All right. So Microsoft, the strikes we got was $395 and $397.5, paying $30 on the put credit spread side. And I've got 420 420, 422.5 on the other side. $66 over there. We'll put it in a good till cancel. And yeah, that's almost $100 with a 2.5 spread. So you're leveraging about 150. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. If you collect 100 off of 250, that's like a 40% return. Not bad at all. Last one, Exxon. Exxon is the last one of the charts we're going to look at. Okay. Ooh, Exxon. They must have had earnings. I was going to say there must have been some earnings in here because that big old candle, it was like, what happened to the fuels? Chevron, I guess, ran into something similar. The fuels, close of a candle, open to the neck, open to the neck. They got a little bit of a gap here. I've got it still in the iron condor list. It's neutral, showed up as neutral. Right, I've got 111 and 119. No, I don't want you. 111 and 119. All righty, get that filled right on, filled up that gap that was up here waiting to be filled. 111 is paying $16. And 119, 120 is paying, what did I say? 16 was the other, and 119 is paying another 18, so $34. It's paying for one spread. Pretty good returns. Even like I said, even if you close it at 70 or 80% profit, you're still going to keep a good little percentage on your returns. All righty. We've gone through a lot of stocks. We went through Apple, Google, SPY, Triple Q, Netflix, Adobe, Merck, TJ Maxx, Costco, Chevron, 3M, Exxon, and Microsoft. We went through a lot of stuff there. Lots of. We went through right there. Okay. Go ahead, Jamie.
Two things. When we looked at the Costco chart earlier, I think you were more in than I was on my chart.
Okay.
So if we were to zoom out, like if we were to use out maybe let's say 4 months and go from the beginning of August, and give us about 4 months. That chart pattern that we were looking at is probably a bullish wedge. That's more so like a bullish wedge type pattern. So even though it did hit that line about 3 times, I think more of a bullish wedge. So that could be going up. We were saying going down, but it was so zoomed in that it didn't look like it was like this. I didn't see the flagpole over here on the left. So
right. What I was looking at was the iron condor because it's just been in this zone for a while.
Yeah. So I was saying that I thought it might drop, but when I see that pole that's there, I thought it might go up. And then yeah. And then earlier you were saying you were asking how was CrowdStrike and Microsoft connected when it came to that outage. And I said they were joined at the hip, but what actually happened was CrowdStrike rolled out, like, let's say, an update, and the machines that were Windows machines are the ones that it impacted.
Oh, okay.
Now, what normally will happen is, at least for my IT days, what you really want to do is when somebody has something like a new update for something, you really want to roll it out in sections,
right?
Depending on how many companies you got or how much with. This was a global thing that it impacted, but it only targeted is the wrong word. It only impacted Windows machines, so it didn't impact any company that was using Macs or any company that was using like Linux or whatever.
Okay.
It specifically was being impacted by the Microsoft Windows machines, and so that's why that's how they would join that.
That makes sense.
So obviously, if you're the airlines, of course you're going to be looking at Microsoft all cross-eyed because you're using a product,
right?
even though technically it wasn't their fault.
Right.
You know, the security cats that did that. So so that's how they're connected when it comes to that issue.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you for that. Clarifying. That's what we're doing. Clarifying. Okay, so this was our list. We went through a bunch of these we went through for the week. If there's some others, we've got a bunch to choose from. But if there's a stock you like that you trade regularly or you'd like to trade, you got more than enough to choose from, right? If you want to stay with the sector, you've got several different sectors that are represented here. There's more than enough opportunities for you to check and see. All right, chart and trade. Our 100K options blueprint is actually starting up next Monday. We've got one more week for those of you who are kind of like, I'm waiting till the last minute. All right. We talked about it about 3 weeks ago. I came on here with my big announcement. A lot of people signed up for it in that window of time. And we're at $75 is the price now. It is at least a $497 training. It's 6 weeks worth of training. And it's up for, you can still register. We're closing up registration by this next weekend. We'll go ahead and wrap that up so we can make sure everybody gets in and we get our 6 weeks up and running. Chart your way to 100K. It's running along the bottom is how you can get in there. We've got 6 weeks of training. We're going to spend 1 week looking at charting and some basic things. Second week, we'll go a little bit deeper into charting and look at indicators and things like that. Third week, we'll start talking strategies. Third and fourth week, both of those weeks, we're going to talk strategies. Actually, the usage of this graphic, where are we? The usage of this graphic is going to, because people are like, well, how do I use this right here? Why am I going the wrong direction? How do I use the credit spreads graphic that we use all the time, right? Some people are wondering, how can they use that so they can, I'm going in the complete wrong direction. How can they use that graphic with all those, with all the strikes on it, all the trades on it? How do we use that? Well, the way you're going to use that is it's going to be taught in week 4. I am completely going in the wrong direction on this slide show. Where is we going? Where is we going? Okay, here we go. Let's try again. Try again. Let's try again. Okay, so people who are wondering, how do we use this? Some people who may be on this call are like, well, it's a lot of stuff on here that I don't know how to use this information. We're going to learn, those who don't know, we're going to learn how to use this during week 4 of our training. Week 5, we're going to look at putting all of this together. How do we put our charting and our strategies together? And then week 6, we're going to talk about scaling it up. All right, because you want to be able to scale it up to you can start putting more and more money in your pockets, right? We're going to talk about that. That's what's happening in our 6 weeks of trading. We've already got a Facebook group up and running. People are already engaging together. They're already starting to get their training, starting to get their learning. And so you want to come on. You want to be the last minute Sam or last minute Sally. You want to come on, chart your way to 100K. So that way you can get yourself all registered and you can be on the ride with us. We're going to do 6 weeks. The sessions are going to meet every week on Thursdays at 7 p.m. is where we will have our live training. There's also going to be a VIP experience. So if you want questions and answers and to get your specific things answered and you want to be able to talk back and forth and all that good stuff, then that's going to be a part of the VIP experience. Yes, there will be replays. Replays are going to come with, if you're involved, there's a little more information to go along with replays, but all of that is in there. Okay. Everything you're looking for, as they say in the TikTok, we got what you're looking for. We got what you're looking for. Okay, I can do my little clap like the cheerleaders. I was never a cheerleader, though. Take that back. I was a cheerleader when I was maybe like 7 or 8. My cousin played football, and I was on the cheerleading team back then. I didn't cheer very long after that, though. So I can't say I was a cheerleader for long because I wasn't a cheerleader for long. All righty. Jamie, what do you want to add as we begin to land this plane?
Nothing. I just hope everybody have a good trading day, and don't forget to make sure the market, I guess, well, I said nothing, then started saying something. Uh, make sure you wait till the market has made some moves before you start looking at what those numbers were for today. Because I can definitely
Absolutely.
tell you, putting in just even if we are charting, putting in trades and waiting based on those numbers, the market in the morning, we already see that we got some earnings that's going to be happening. So you definitely want to at least use those numbers as a guideline,
Yes.
but not definitely not as a rigid fact or anything.
Yep. Got a few things to say. Number one, you want to always protect your mentals and your emotions because in your nervous system, trading is hard on the nervous system. Probably because because it's founded in your money, and there's a lot of money mindsets that are about, and nobody likes to win or lose. But when you win big, your endorphins kick in. When you lose, those same endorphins kick in, and that's hard on the nervous system. So you want to be mindful about your emotions and your mental state and such while you're trading. Number one. Number two, watching is a strategy, and it's okay to paper trade and to do your trading in your sim. There's nothing at all wrong with being in your sim, right? You practice over there. Enjoy it over there. Number three, we're going to be on every morning, 9:45. We're on. We talk about what's happening that day in the market. What did the market open up looking like? What their stock we want to look at. We look and chart those. We do all that stuff. That happens every trading day morning at 9:45. All right. So if you're not in a part of my community, I do have a membership. We have a membership. You can go to educator to trader. I was looking at the note down there. Educator2trader.com is where all of my resources are, all of the courses I teach. My membership is there. Anything you're looking for as far as products from me, covered calls, cash secure puts, credit spreads, how to trade SPX on a zero DTE, all those things are over in my website. Okay. Janae says, do you renew weekly for Peakbot? The alerts renew $5 every weekend. If you're getting alerts from Peakbot, it's $5 per week. If you're looking to automated trade on Peakbot, it does need to be reconnected to Schwab on a weekly basis. Okay, but I do get the alerts that I pay for on Peakbot, right? If you're looking for automated trading, that's in the comments. You can see, in the description, you can see the links to do that. Okay. So I want you to do three things. I want you to have a good rest of the evening, get yourselves ready and prepared for your trading week. As I understand it, the money in the market is made on the weekend. And the second thing I want you to do is let's stay green. And the third thing is I want us to get this money. All right. If you haven't signed up for Chart and Trade, go over, chart your way to 100K and get yourself registered for that. Other than that, I will see you all in the morning. I will bid you a fond farewell and say good night, sweetheart. Yes, it's time to go. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Goodbye, everybody. Bye.